Who's watching the people who watch your kids? The Fox 6 investigators discovered an unlicensed child care center operating with no inspections and no oversight.
Our Amanda St. Hilaire found out this is part of a much bigger issue known as the daycare loophole. Amanda joins us now.
Stephanie, Ben, the U.S. Census Bureau says Wisconsin has nearly 300,000 children who need daycare. There are not enough spots to keep up, so finding that child care is tough and expensive. Advocates say that environment is making it way too easy to take advantage of parents and gaps in state law.
Tucked away off Highway 60 in Jackson, Wisconsin. At first, Living Word Child Development Center is easy to miss. And parents say that
there's no rules, it seems like,
is the problem.
We have no comment.
If no one's doing anything wrong here, why doesn't anyone want to talk to us?
But the people who run Living Word had plenty to say.
We are not state
to our hidden camera.
I mean, that's my child.
Becky Jeske put her daughter's daycare program on Fox 6's radar when she realized it was not on the state's.
I called licensing, and they called me back the next day and told me that they weren't licensed. I was very upset.
Wisconsin law says you need a license if you're caring for 4 or more children younger than 7 for fewer than 24 hours per day. State inspections ensure the right background checks, training, staff-to-child ratios, and safety. Living Word Child Development Center did not appear in the state's online child care database. Public records show the center used to be licensed and inspected, but since 2015, no one has been watching.
So how many kids total are in the center?
Oh, center is about 150-ish.
That's Living Word's administrator, Kelly Patterson.
These are 2 to 2.5-year-olds.
She tells us the center offers care starting at 6 weeks old, with an option for 4-year-old kindergarten.
4K only. Okay. Yeah, that's its own separate entity. They just happen to be in our building.
But just minutes later, Patterson uses 4-year-old kindergarten to explain why Living Word is not licensed.
We are not state, we're actually private school. Okay. Because we have the 4K, we are actually private school status.
There's nobody looking after them.
Former state representative Penny Bernard-Shaber calls it the daycare loophole.
I was very, very concerned for the children that could be put in this situation.
State law says schools do not need child care licenses, but Bernard-Shaber says it's too easy for programs that should be licensed to call themselves private schools.
All Living Word Child Development Center had to do was send an email turning down state financial assistance, fill out a few short forms claiming private school status, topped off with a 3-sentence letter. So 4 pages later, no license, no inspections, no one watching.
If a person who is really a daycare center calls herself a school and then avoids the regulations that are required to provide the safest and best care for our kids, that's a problem.
So who makes sure these programs actually meet private school requirements? Not the Department of Public Instruction. It told us to talk to the Department of Children and Families. Children and Families sent us back to Public Instruction. 5 sources in both departments said the private school designation was not meant for infant programs. But as long as the right forms get filled out, the law says their hands are tied.
There really is no way to understand how many people are doing this.
But Bernard-Shaber does understand that Living Word is not the only one. A center in her district had children sleeping in the basement with no working smoke detectors, no supervision, and no state inspections because the program could call itself a private school. That's why Bernard-Shaber introduced legislation in 2011 requiring schools caring for children younger than 3 to still have child care licenses and the inspections that go with them.
It kind of fell apart at the end of the session,
leaving room for Living Word to operate with no one watching.
We are not state, we're actually private school.
But Living Word asks parents to fill out state paperwork for a child care center and tells the state its youngest grade is 4-year-old kindergarten.
We have 2 baby rooms.
Claiming its enrollment is 18 students.
Oh, center is about 150-ish.
And when West Bend School District gave us a list of private schools in its boundaries, Living Word Child Development Center was nowhere to be found. We called Living Word several times.
This is Amanda St. Hilaire from Fox 6, giving you another call.
No one would answer our questions, so we showed up.
If no one's doing anything wrong here, why doesn't anyone want to talk to us?
We have no comment.
No comment on how your center runs, or no comment on whether you're trying to get out of state inspections?
I think I've said all we need to say.
Well, there are parents who have a lot of questions about this, and the public has a lot of questions about this too. I think they'd like to hear from you.
Silence from Living Word
You're dealing with other people's kids.
won't stop parents from making noise, saying they want child care centers flying under the radar to become at least a little bit harder to miss. A spokesperson from the Wisconsin Council of Religious and Independent Schools originally told us the organization's director would talk to us on camera. That way we could get the private school perspective. But the director later said no to that interview, telling us on the phone that she's working with the State Department of Children and Families to figure out solutions, stopping short of telling us exactly what kinds of solutions are in the works.
Now, Amanda, I know it took you several months to get a lot of these answers. There are a lot of parents out there. It can be really confusing. So what can parents do if they have questions about childcare?
It's tough because right now there's no way to tell how many unlicensed child care centers are out there. But if a facility is licensed, the state will have a record of it. We have a link on our website to Wisconsin's Young Star system, and that's where you can see ratings and past inspections. You can also call the State Department of Children and Families directly. And tomorrow we are giving you a closer look at efforts to reintroduce legislation to end this so-called daycare loophole. And we'll also give you a look at why the conversation about cost surrounding this is so tough. So that's tomorrow night right here at 9.
Yeah, it's just amazing. These facilities seem like they're operating in the shadows. So
That's what a lot of people have told us. So we're exploring the issue more, and we'll see what we find out.
all right.
Good stuff. We'll see your report tomorrow. All right, Amanda. Well, still ahead here.